I am very passionate about what I do and why and how. But the differentiator in this space is it's not location and it's not talent. It's not the equipment. It's not the marketing. It's not any of that. It's one piece of it. It's candidly the lack of business acumen or the intention of having it. So the thriving practices truly function and operate with clear standard operating procedures, clear financial strategies, and a team that is highly trained. The struggling practices completely lack the structure. They don't know the numbers and they try to do it themselves without the training and without discipline. And
Hey, what's up, everybody? Cam Hemphill here, your host for Medical Millionaire. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune into the podcast. Our goal is to give incredible value and insight for practice owners. Guys, I have an incredible guest on today, a true friend. I call her the GOAT, the greatest of all time. She's been in the industry for years and she's worked with practices. She has a conference. She's launched products. She's sold companies. She's worked with just about everybody I know. And anytime I mention her name to somebody, they seem to know who she is. And so I want to welcome a good friend, Terri Ross. Terri, thank you so much for joining me.
Cameron, honey, thank you so much. Equally love your background, love your career, the successes you've had. You are equally a dear friend, and I love what we're doing together. Thank you for having me on this podcast. I know we share the same affinity for really helping these practices scale in the right way. So I cannot wait to just dive into this with you.
I love it. I love it. I know this is a long time coming and shit. We were just talking offline, talking about practices that really need to be educated through success and what success looks like. Like, how do you scale? And more importantly, what causes a practice to fail? I mean, you have so many numbers, benchmarks, KPIs, the industry. Like, what are you seeing out there right now?
Well, the good thing is people that know me know I keep it real. Like there's too much bullshit noise in the space. So I'm just going to I think this industry is even lacking more of it, that more authenticity, more honesty. We got to get just down and dirty into the facts, not the feelings. And so look, I've been doing this almost 20 years. Thank you so much for your kind words. I am very passionate about what I do and why and how. But the differentiator in this space is it's not location and it's not talent. It's not the equipment. It's not the marketing. It's not any of that. It's one piece of it. It's candidly the lack of business acumen or the intention of having it. So the thriving practices truly function and operate with clear standard operating procedures, clear financial strategies, and a team that is highly trained. The struggling practices completely lack the structure. They don't know the numbers and they try to do it themselves without the training and without discipline. And it's sort of as simple as that.
So, okay. I mean, I completely agree. And, it's like they go to school, clinical stuff, they want to open up a practice, or, some are more, have actually had more clinical experience than others. Right. And they could run circles around me when it comes to clinical stuff. Like,
100%.
I freaking,
Yeah.
I get Tasmanian devil. Like, I don't even know what they're saying sometimes, but that's why I go to them. Obviously learn over the years. But, when it comes to the business aspect, like how do they learn that? Because I mean, it's pretty demanding,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
go to school for all these years, open up a practice. There's risk there. By the way, you have to run your practice like a business, or else like the risk factor of it closing is actually very real. How do they learn that? I mean, because I've gone to conferences for years. I don't see a ton of conferences out there besides yours, by the way, for a summit, which is amazing. Guys, you got to go to it, by the way. My gosh, it's a business focused conference. What is some of the other ways that they could learn how to run their practice like a business, the numbers, the KPIs,
Yeah.
what to do, what not to do?
Look, well, one, thank you for the kudos on 4S. Love that you're a part of it. And I'll get into that in a minute, why I even started it with Isaac Muesli, my co-partner, and Dr. Renato Saltz. But look, candidly, there isn't. And I take myself back and I did my podcast of like, what would I have told my younger self? And so I got into aesthetics in 2007, working for Medicis and Zeltique, and did the Fortune 500 thing for a long time and had the opportunity to have a med spa in Beverly Hills. Even back then, that was like 2013, 14. There was nowhere to go. I sat in on AmSpa to learn like the compliance and who could do what. And it still lacked data. Like fast forward, 10 to 15 years now that we've been in the space. And like you and I said, we're at conferences every month if not more. And sure, are they trying to evolve a little bit more and build practice management tracks? Yes. Are there speakers up there for, 10, 20 minutes? Some a little bit longer? Yes. Some are great, some aren't. So the industry still has a huge gap of business education, which is the reason we started 4S Summit 2 years ago, because we were trying to fill the gap. And for me personally, having Terri Ross Consulting for almost 15 years now, that it's very sad. There's moments I cry every week by the amount of calls we get or people suffering, no profitability, right? Bought the wrong stuff, think that it's easy to open up a space, don't have enough cash flow, like hired the wrong consultant. Everybody's a consultant now in these days. It's crazy. So it's, look, I'm doing the best I can to constantly evolve what we do and give back. But it's hard. And I think people that actually have a business have to put themselves and recognize you can be the greatest surgeon, provider. And I know that you are. And like to your point, Cam, we're not trying to teach you how to do that. But if we're not understanding, right, truly what it takes to be an entrepreneur, that you have to allocate time to work on the business. This isn't some rat race, show up, see your patients, get some more marketing, buy some more shit. And,
Yep.
I'm going to make a bunch of money. That's not that. It doesn't work like that. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to be self-serving and be like, if people are struggling, I'd love to work with you, but we need more of the business part of it.
Yeah, well said. And I mean, look, guys, look, I make nothing by saying for us is great. I've personally been and I've spoke there and I have been to conferences and I just gave her a shout out on social media. Just, I think it was yesterday, you guys posted
Yeah.
something.
Thank you. It was amazing. Thank you.
Well, and that's like honestly speaking from my heart. That's just not me saying, "Hey, I'm promoting this cool thing." I don't promote shit, actually. It's this is my firsthand experience, and this is what it was. And I come from a massive business background.
Yeah.
I've been an entrepreneur for
Like you built companies.
25
Yeah.
years. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had two very successful exits. One was recent last year. I think most of the world knows about by now. Founded Growth 99, sold it. Still on the board, still an active investor, still obviously rooting for them. But it's mind blowing to me coming in to this space and going to all these conferences for years and not seeing that, because there's a lot of clinical stuff and then it's like dabbled in business. And so, I mean, when you put that on, we've become more close since you put it on,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, the industry needs this so freaking bad. Let me give you a story, recent story. There was a practice at the front of my neighborhood here. And where I live, it's a very affluent area. There's 1,400 houses in this development. And this is a hormone replacement therapy practice that popped up, new development. Everybody needs it. Like anybody, every household is a patient and a patient for life. The lady's an NP, so she's got the background, the credentials from the clinical side. Her two partners supposedly were entrepreneur investor backed, but they open up the practice, not great marketers, not savvy business owners, had no idea how to set up a robust tech stack, how to acquire a patient, how to keep a patient, how to give a patient experience, and double down on that and reach out to them and just really run the practice like a business. They had no idea what their numbers were, their P&Ls, their balance sheet, like no idea what to spend on marketing, like none of this. They just thought that opening this up in a great spot would make them win.
Yeah.
They built it up to about $35,000 a month in recurring revenue in 4 months. Okay, I'm talking like a small practice here. They ended up closing their doors before year one, done. And I met with them and I said, shoot, I live down the road. I could totally help you guys out. I kind of know this industry a little bit. And they wouldn't take my advice because they, kind of knew it all. And it was actually quite a simple formula. And this practice really, honestly, Terri, it had the ability to, within 1 year to 2 years, to easily go to $2.5 million in revenue easily.
Yeah.
And they just missed. They struck out. And it was mainly because they weren't looking at it on how to run this practice like an effective business should be.
Mhm.
Patient acquisition costs, conversion rates, like they weren't even answering the phone when people would call.
Yeah.
Right? They had no systems in place and they just failed. I tried to come in and save it, but it was too late. So,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? If they had learned that shit,
Yeah.
their success rate would have gone up.
Well, thanks for sharing. I think everybody should really kind of embrace that story. And even if you're not in that new startup phase, that's what's happening, right? I mean, what was it, 17% of new med spas last year? Now everybody and their brothers trying to open it up. So That is what happened, and doing it on their own, by the way. And then look and think of the practices. I had a call. Well, I had a couple calls this week where people have multiple locations. They are relatively successful, but they're stuck. And when I do these financial calculators and I'm like, okay, cool, you're making 2 million, but your space could make 6. Like they don't even know that. So I'm like, you think you're successful. Thanks for reaching out that to recognize you're stuck, okay? But holy shit, how do we get to the other 4 million? And that's what people need. They really need to understand not just the pain, but what is the possibility. And look, get out of your own way a little bit and be like, you know what, shit, I'm great at these things, but I'm not. And they're right. I mean, there's a reason I do what I do. And I just wish more people were open minded to, to what's possible in their own business and not be so ego driven or not willing or think I'm expensive. And I'm like, I'm the greatest investment that you could make. I'm not expensive, but that's what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's the best athletes and even like the mediocre athletes all have coaches.
Yeah.
I
It,
mean, most business owners have coaches.
Should look, I have a goddamn coach. Like I didn't get to where I am, on my own. Like I am like a lifelong learner. I've probably spent more money than I even want to share, but that's just, we're scrappy people. And like, you're a freaking young, successful entrepreneur. I mean, I just did this post this morning about all the books. Look, we're busy. I get it. We have families and kids and businesses and wives and sisters and whatever it is, but we got to just kind of carve out the time and really be honest with what's working and what's not.
So it's speaking on that for a sec, because like, I think as even a top entrepreneur, this practice, for example, multi-location, doing multiple 7 figures on the surface, probably pretty attractive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They called you for a reason. We think we have a problem. We can't figure it out. Let's call those blind spots.
Yes.
So, what are some of the top operational blind spots that limit practice scalability that you see?
I mean, I have narrowed this down, and this is not, again, feelings. This is factual shit. I've had the pleasure of working with people in Nigeria and South Africa and Brazil. And, it doesn't matter where you are, what kind of business you are. Candidly, is first and foremost, it is the lack of training. Right? There are a lot of people that get hired in a role, a front desk, a provider, a manager, but the training of aesthetics. And what I mean by that is, so look, it's one thing to hire people, but it's not just about answering the phone and booking an appointment. It's not like I'm a great surgeon or provider and I can go do the injectables and the lasers. Yes, you can do those things, but do you understand fundamentally like the role specific and then the KPIs? Okay, now you got to tie it into that because the practices that are like, relentless give a shit and run the business based on the data. They based on the data, based on SOPs, based on accountability and systems. And without it, you just cannot scale. You can't grow right without the systems in the place and then knowing what data I'm supposed to look at to make an informed decision. And if we can, if we hone in on that, people will literally be in completely different spaces than they are today.
So it's like thesis and emotion based off of reality of data is what I'm hearing.
Percent.
And
100%.
I agree. Like I was on a recent call with a practice doing about the same volume, about 2 to 3 million, and they want to open up their second location. And I asked them a question. I was like, "Well, how many phone calls come in a month?" And they didn't know the answer. And they're like, "Well, let me find that out and get back to you." I'm like, "Well, what phone system do you use?"
They don't know that either.
Yeah, I mean they don't have one actually. I think they have an iPhone that routes through Google or something. And that's cool. I mean, it's got them
Yeah.
to a couple $1,000,000 like that. Sure, I guess you scrap, you
Yeah.
figure it out. But like, there comes a time and a place where like there's phone systems that can tell you how many phone calls came in and what ads they came in from. You're right, and then track that shit on what is
Yeah.
converting and which one's not. The ones that do even have the phone systems in place, they'll tell me that they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we had like 400 phone calls come in last month." I was like, "Well, how many booked appointments?" And the numbers are like less than half.
I know.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, who's taking those phone calls?" And they're like, "Well, a bunch of us are the provider with the front desk." And I'm like, "Well, who's monitoring the phone calls?" Like, there's money in there, right? Like
Yeah.
gold. Would you argue and say that if you're spending money on marketing, obviously I'm a big fan of CRM, 25-year CRM guy before aesthetics. Have a CRM in place that can help convert the leads, automatically follow up with them, like absolutely critical. But what about that? Like, what about that front desk person? How important, like truly, because I still think practice owners struggle with understanding the importance of that person picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Would you argue that they should make a tremendous amount of cash and be incentivized to like on a commission based structure? Like, I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, look, I say often it's an overlooked position and an underpaid position. But
Yeah.
yet it is the front, right, front first person they're going to come in contact with. And yet they're, I don't, God, yet they're almost either like, having them learn the procedures in the practice and then
Hmm.
the typical protocols, right? Book it for 30 minutes or an hour, whatever the hell. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Fine. Those are formalities. If they, I'm going to, look, everything we do in aesthetics is a sales job. It is because this
Yes.
is a cash-based business. So you're selling, again, you're selling your storytelling, your brand, your credentials, the outcome, the journey, the experience, the results, the why. I could go on and on. What did I just list? I don't know, 8 or 9 things that someone, the front desk specifically, has to do. Those aren't just bullshit words or letters I just threw out. There are things they have to do and know. And it's not just a process of how we book it at ABC Aesthetics. No, it's not that. Like, who's calling your practice, right? How are you going to engage with them? How are you going to qualify them? What questions are you going to ask them? How are you going to credential the practice? How are you going to talk about features and benefits? How are you going to overcome price objections? How are you going to get them to come in the door and convert? And then book, like I just rattled off again, 9 or 10 things a front desk has to do. My training curriculum is like college. This shit is not a joke. If they can't do that, you and I could right now put pencil to paper for what you just
Hmm.
said. 450 calls come in, they don't know what converted. Let's say less than 50%, that's what you said. Okay. And then they're not charging a consultation. Let's just do math, you guys. Get out a piece of paper and do the math. Right. Hundreds of thousands of dollars are being lost just in that one piece of your business. And you know what? Majority of people ignore it. So are you guys cool with that? I would be devastated. This is not something to be cool with. Like, this is something to be like, holy shit, I'm listening to this podcast. Cam and Terri are giving me awesome information. I better get my ass and go check. It's sort of as simple as that. People are like tripping over how do I make money? You and I could, it's very simple. It's a very simple equation if we just pay attention and invest in the opportunity to figure it out.
Yeah, there's tech out there, right? Like there's tech that can track it. There is, ways to make your practice efficient with great products and tools that have been created by very successful people, very smart people. Hey, here's a phone system. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
use this system that comes through, track it, record it. Let's
Yeah,
meet on it. Let's train on it. Let's review it. Is Sally the right gal for the front
exactly.
office? Maybe
Yes.
not. Get rid of her. I don't know. Do we have the right comp plan for
Yes.
Sally? Did we set her up to fail? Shit. Half the time you set them up to fail. And it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, if you got like the best closer that takes those phone calls,
Yeah.
and I think there's this whole like, this whole thing out there like, I don't want to be salesy. I'm a provider. I practice medicine. I am not, cheeseball Charlie on the used car lot selling shit. Right? Like,
Right.
I get
Right.
it,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that's not. I mean, talk us through that, Terri. Like a true professional salesperson gives information.
Yeah.
They consult, they assist, because when these people are calling, they're crying for help.
Yeah, yeah. Well, such a great question. Thank you. And when I teach this, and I've got since January 7th, I've been gone probably 2 to 3 weeks training and going on site to practices. And I think more people are recognizing that there's huge value in that. And think about anybody at any other company, Apple, Allergan, right? Salesforce. It doesn't matter. You get training. We all have to get training to get a position in these companies. And then you're fired if you're not hitting goals. It's as simple as that. But in this world, you're right. Patients are calling, crying for help. The problem is most practices now doing this for so long. Look, I'm not saying that there's no empathy and sympathy and right ability to connect and talk to me about the services that I need. Sure. Can people do that? Yes. But doing that piece of it isn't good enough when we're talking about looking at average spend per patient, retention, average revenue per hour, lifetime value. I could start digging and being like, that's amazing. Now let me dig in your numbers and be like, oh shit, you think you're doing it well. And so it's the patients are calling, but this is we're just in a commoditization now. This is a competitive environment. We're all doing everybody's doing the same shit. I'm in Los Angeles. I mean, right, you're in Florida, highly competitive markets. And so it's going from transactional. Are we just doing the Botox, doing the boob job, doing the facelift, doing the, or are we transformational? And then in an effort to do that, that means there's training involved to really figure out how badly, like, why is the patient calling your practice and down, not the one down the street? Are they going to choose you? Why? What matters to them? I always say a phrase like, what do you look for when you choose an aesthetic practice? You have to open it up, let the client tell you, right? You're going to
Yes.
learn a lot. Is it price? Is it results? Whatever it is. And then in that consultation specifically, get down to the root. Sales is just a transfer of emotions. So, how, if the person wants it bad enough, they're willing to spend any money. We just don't get that deep ever. And so we lack the skill set to be able to do that.
Yeah, the best salespeople sell on emotion, right?
100%. Yeah.
And this is an emotional decision every single time. I mean, you're altering the physical appearance of somebody, you're investing in self-confidence, and now with wellness, you're like making them feel and look better. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's when they, if there is a practice out there that knows how to connect that dot from
Mhm.
asking the questions, like dig, ask them
Yeah.
why they're truly calling, get to
Yeah.
the root of it, and you'll find out every single one of them there's some sort of
100%.
vulnerable thing that's going on.
Mhm.
It's deeper than like, oh, I got some wrinkles, I'm getting a
Yeah.
little older. Well, it's like, no, actually, I want to stay looking young so I can
Right.
continue to be active and like my wife and I can have a good time, right? Like,
Right, right, exactly.
like
But think
that's the
about
shit.
what you just said. It's very simple to somebody to be like, I got fine lines and wrinkles. Boom, you need some Botox, you need some fillers, you need a laser.
There you go.
That shit's transactional. Cool.
There you
Yes,
go.
you guys know what to do. You have the stuff to do it. But it's more than that. Why do they want it? Right? How do they feel about it? How do they feel about themselves having wrinkles and fine lines? Right? Let's get there. And now you're going to win me for life. And so again, I feel like this is so simple if people know what to do.
So let's talk about the, on those phone calls that come in, the ones that do convert. Okay. Because there's
Yeah.
another gap here, and I'll call it, I guess, blind spot, if you will.
Yeah.
There's another gap. So the ones that come in and there's a consultation, there's like the moment the person opens the door to the practice, how are they greeted? What's the experience like? Like, how are you different? Because, and I'll dovetail this with like brand positioning. Brand positioning identity right now, I think is like absolutely ridiculously critical. Knowing who you are, because so you're not commoditized, right?
Yeah.
Like as much as
Yeah.
like you have to be different, you have to know who you are, you have to be authentic. But those ones that come in and they do get the consult, more than anybody that that console in most cases is broken. There's a transactional component there too between the provider and the patient experience. When really, like, I've had Botox, right? I think most listeners on here have. Whatever. Dysport, actually, I Dysport's better for me
Me too.
for whatever reason, but it goes away. The shit wears
Yeah.
off. I got to
Right.
go back. So, like, I need to come back. And by the way, why the hell didn't you tell me about microneedling? And why didn't you tell me you have
Yeah.
tirzepatide or Samoralin or all this shit to make me like, I just hit 40. Let's go. What can people do to like elevate that consultation to turn that into a transformation? Because we want to create patients for life, not just make them come in, leave, or come in a couple times and bail, and then Sally down the road is better than you. Like, how do you like? What are some of the best things you've seen, and how do providers and practices work on that to nail that consultation to increase lifetime value and create that patient experience that keeps them there forever?
Yeah. I mean, look, you've been to 4S, you've seen my trainings. Um, I could probably have my whole business just built on that. And look, it's what I've done my whole career too, for my whole life before getting into aesthetics. And so it's such a loaded question.
Hmm.
Look, they have to have a process. And so I think when we started this podcast, you kind of said it, what, and you guys, I'm going to invite you to think about this, right? So we're talking patient acquisition. Then someone's going to call or do an online lead. What happens? What's that process? One, I come in the door. What does that experience look like? Am I given tools, right? Ahead of time, like a cosmetic interest questionnaire to open up the door for other services that you have? Is there a consultation fee? Again, people don't value, right? Free shit. That's my personal opinion, but I have statistics to back that up. And then when you're in the consultation room, right? Is it 30 minutes, 45 minutes? Like, is there enough time to really get to know you? And then there's a standardized set of questions that I literally have, taught now and evolved over many years that work. And so people have to kind of really, and I always say it too, it's a mindset shift. I can give you the tools, the scripts, the this, the that, the framework. I can give you all that. But you have to genuinely, wholeheartedly believe and then bring it back to the numbers and go, shit, I am a kick ass provider, but wow, the data looks different. My numbers aren't where they need to be. Okay, why not? Then we can start to question, is it the quality of people coming in, or could we improve the consultation process? And I have enough stats and testimonials to back it up that if you can go from that, right, that mindset of being salesy, recognizing patients need, to your point, they need all the things. And there's stats to show that 89 and 91% of people want to be educated. Sadly, less than 50% do. So we're missing the boat, which is why retention rates are really low. So I know it's sort of a long-winded answer, but to challenge each step of your journey, of the patient's journey, and where are the holes within your practice, and then tie it back to the data. Because I promise you, and again, not patting ourselves on the back, but practices have grown 2-3 million with us in 1 year. It's a lot of money, and it's just because they're diehards of figuring out or investing in the training and then holding people accountable.
I mean, it makes me think about, like, what does it cost to acquire a patient? How much do they spend per visit? How often do they come? What is the average LTV, lifetime value? And how do you increase that? Right? Like, I know that AmSpa put out, a report recently. They probably need to up on it. It's becoming due, I would say. But it was in 2024, so it's still pretty recent.
Yeah.
It was like average spend was like $530 a visit, right? First visit. LTV, like Zenoti had some data, Growth 99 had some data, is like 60 on average, 1,000 to 6,300 spend per year per patient, depending on frequency. And that's
Okay.
just kind of going off of their data, right? And it's like, okay, well, if the industry, I think, did like 15, what was it, like 16 billion last year or something like
Yeah.
that?
Almost 18.
Almost 18 billion. I think GLP-1s had a
Yeah.
big push of that,
Huge.
right? But like huge. In fact, I think it was like 75% was like the increase or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But if you look at the utilization rate, okay, so you have patient spend, and I'm not going to bore you guys with all this data, but
Yeah.
you look at patient spend, patient lifetime value, and then utilization rate. Utilization rate's really low.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that my theory on that, if you analyze the data, you're like, okay, well, every patient's underspending then. Every one of them.
1,000,000%. So let's tie it to the question you just asked me. Why are they underspending? Well, they're underspending because we're only doing the thing that they came in for. We're not doing treatment plans. We're not. And I know it. We're not. Or else the rate, and hell, I just came back from VCS. I was the keynote with Q. I have the numbers that I'm literally looking at. If you guys don't know what QSight is, it's a research firm in New York. That is literally all they do. McKinsey back, they sell data to Allergan and Merz and Galderma, big companies. We did a collaboration together, and literally the average spend in 1 year per patient was $1,473.
Jeez.
You guys, we can't do it. You and I could talk about this for days, for hours. I mean, we could write books on this stuff, but we got to say, okay, are you guys going to be okay with that? Or recognizing that you want a patient for life. In an effort to do that, they should be spending minimum, over 10 grand a year with you if we're really putting them on a plan. And that's not surgical. Now, if we're really combining surgery with all the non-surgical, which is hands down, everyone needs that too, right? This isn't two separate businesses, it's one. This is it. So if you're going, I want to grow revenue, this is the only way. It is the only way to grow revenue. I'm like, when the door's shut, no one knows what's happening in the room. Your consultation is your number one revenue generator, hands down.
Oh my gosh, you guys, if I hope you pause right here and write this stuff down. Like, this is gold. This is true gold, because you can only spend like so much on marketing, right? You can only do so much revenue at a practice depending on rooms and providers. Like,
Mhm.
at one point you will get max capacity, and that's great. You got to go open up another practice or another location, or you're fine to whatever you're doing. That's on you guys. But there comes a point where you're like, hey, I have to figure out how to create more revenue within my current
Yes. Yeah.
ecosystem.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I truly think like the utilization rate, and for the listeners, guys, that means your like what your capacity is. Most of them are 50 to 65%, Terry.
Yeah. I know.
And they want to go open up location number 2.
I know.
When location 1, I'm like, that's a horrible idea. Like, you're not even filling in the real estate that you have now. It's like me owning an apartment complex that's got freaking 100 doors. Half of them are empty, but I want to go buy another apartment building, right? That seems like just a
Yeah.
bad idea.
Right. Finance right.
But yeah, so like if you learn how to do a consult, learn like good sales training, good conversion,
Mhm.
knowing your numbers, have systems, processes, like increase your conversion rates, keep your retention rates high.
Yeah.
I truly think, and this is a bold statement. I actually said this when I was speaking at Year 4S when it was
Yeah.
back in last year
That's it.
at in Fort Lauderdale. I ran some numbers, and based upon what we're talking now, I'm like, I seriously think as an industry, we left about 15 billion on the table. That's a bold statement, but if you look at the utilization
Yeah.
rate spend, like I'm like, holy shit, we're shooting ourselves in the foot, because
Yeah.
the patients want the treatments.
Oh yeah. They're just now spread around.
They're spread around.
It's like it's like bad dating. You're just whoring yourself out. I mean, I mean, right? They're
Oh
it's
yeah.
like you're just single for life and on the Hinge wheel and Bumble and all that. But like, this is serious. This isn't serious.
I
This isn't a
love that.
joke, right? I mean, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So how do we? I know you and I are so passionate about this, and this is why you have your podcast. This is why I have mine, and the whole intention is that we want to serve you guys and really hope bring to light certainly make it fun, but bring to light opportunities for you. This isn't a joke. This is really serious stuff. The business of aesthetics is serious, and there's a way and a method, and the ones that are thriving put more credence on, well, equal, right? Look, at everybody's running around spending all kind of money to learn a new craft, a new injection technique, a new surgical
Yep.
way. They do, and
Yep.
I
They
get it,
do.
and I applaud it 1,000,000%. But holy shit, why are we not like literally saying my business requires the same level of training? And how can you and I continue to be the voice, right, of education out there to really inform people that it's not an option.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, if I guess I just have such an easy way of looking at it, because I look at it through a business lens versus a
Hmm.
clinical lens.
Yeah.
And, maybe if the conversation was reversed, maybe I mean, I have a ton to learn on that aspect,
Yeah.
and I totally get that. But if I was to open up a practice, I know that I have to go learn a ton of clinical shit.
For
Like, I never want to
sure, you're
run a
right.
practice like I'll never be an injector. Don't want to be. You don't want me to be.
All right.
But I need to learn about all the
Maybe,
modalities and all the shit, right?
yeah, yeah. We've all had to, right? We have to know what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can handle a patient call if I'm running a
Sure.
practice. But
Yeah.
but I think that they don't connect that dot, right? In the sense of, hey, this is a business. Hey, there is revenue, there is expenses. I have payroll, I have software expenses, I have a lease payment. Like, it truly is. And that's why I think you and I are so passionate about it, because I'm like, I wish everybody just listened to the damn conversations, went to, more of the business and invested that side, and maybe took off a little bit of their budget on the clinical stuff and
Yeah.
invested in it and put it more on the business side.
I think that's the opportunity. I think that, this was such perfect timing for this podcast. And I really hope people listen and re listen and take notes. But we're wrapping up Q2. You
Hmm.
have one shot. The industry is down right now. It
Yeah.
is. And, we have to really say, did you hit your goals for, the first half of the year? Do you even have any goals? How are you tracking them? And if you're down, why? And then what are you going to do differently for Q2? Because look, the whole definition of insanity, to go from here to there, you can do the same shit because it's easy. It's the shit that gets uncomfortable. And maybe you got to look internally and say, do I have the right people on the bus, right? Do they understand my vision, mission, values? Do they understand aesthetics isn't 9 to 5? Do they want to learn the systems? Do they want to learn the KPIs? It's pretty powerful stuff, and it's actually very sexy. And look at you, you've built it is. This is what we do. It's a sexy place to be, and it's a very powerful place to be versus all this high turnover that the industry faces. And it's because of the leadership or lack of training. I mean, like you said, all this is a very simple equation. It really is. If, more people, like you said, reallocated some of their budget and time.
Yeah, I mean, it's demanding. It's, shit, you got to practice. That's a million things are going on. You got an employee that's upset, a patient that's upset, whatever you got, but I do see a lot of people going to to conferences and continuing to invest in the clinical side. And I totally get it. I agree with you. I mean, yes, you got to continue to advance your skill set. Totally get it. No argument there. But there's a time and a place to really double down on the business sides. Like, I got a question for you here when it comes to like pricing. This is a question I actually get a lot is pricing. And I think a lot of practices struggle with this is they struggle with understanding how to price a specific service, treatment, product.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they're like, should I put it on the website? Should I not put it on the website? I always hear this question.
Yeah.
Well, so-and-so down the street selling this per unit for X, should we like do the same? So when it comes to like pricing, services, profitability, margins, right? Like what's your take on that? How should they approach that?
God, I know. And, again, for those of you that know me, I get it. A million ways to skin the cat, different opinions. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to tell you my 20 years almost of doing this and seeing practices around the country and then consulting. So I look at data, I look at the software, I look at the reports, I look at the P&L. I know exactly what. So I am going to be bold in my statement too, that, look, people walking in to go buy a Chanel purse, right? You know exactly what you're going to get. You're walking into the Four Seasons, you know exactly what you're going to get. First class is always fucking full. Why? Okay. What, I want to drink. I want to lay down on an 11-hour flight. I mean, come on now. So let's get clear on your business model. I'm not here to judge, right? Whatever it is and wherever you live. But if we're talking about the keys to pricing profitably and where people go wrong, it's because they don't understand gross margins. They don't understand the financial equations. So what I mean by that is you have to base your prices on cost per treatment per hour, your profit margins, which by the way, in the non-surgical world should be well over 60% gross profit, right? And then market on demand, right? Right? Don't worry about what your competitors are doing. And so you have to look at, let's use injectables. We have financial calculators, okay? So you look at the service injectables, what you charge, $600. It costs you $250. Time. So the service fee to the patient, COGS, time. It'll spit out a number, okay? I didn't even put in labor. Now I have to pay Cam labor cost. Okay? I promise you, injectable, right, profit margins after you do G&A is roughly in the 20s. That shit is low. So I'm not saying don't do it, but you got to look at, I say riches are in the niches. Fine, I want you to do injectables, but then you better be efficient with your time in the room, which is where revenue per hour comes in. What can you squeeze out in an hour? And not rushy. This is why people ask me, oh, well, Terri, should I do the treatment the same day? I'm like, you don't even know them. You don't know, do I need 1 syringe or 5? So how are you going to book time? Then I'm not even a candidate, then it's inefficient. So you got to look at, right? You have to, and then people underprice. They underprice, and then they're in a membership, and then they're going to do a discount, and holy shit, now you're making no money at all. And so the pricing structure and strategy is so key, but you have to do the financial exercise. And then you can decide, right? Is my per unit too low, right? Is my labor cost too high? By the way, you guys, cost of labor should be under 20%. And if it's above that, that means your providers aren't generating enough money. Like, this is the shit you have to look at. And now I can help you make an informed decision. Cut this, raise this, do this, change this time. And I got you. I just got you $1 million. I did. I love it. I'm like, it's crazy. This is it. It's super fun and exciting, but no, nobody looks at it like that.
Yeah, it's like, you can't give them the answer until they actually know exactly what they're doing within the practice, right?
Yeah.
Like, because they'll come in and say, well, how should I price this? What should I price that? Sure, you can look at margin, be like, let's look at your clientele, let's look at your demographic. What do let's look at what your cogs are, and have you factored the time in,
Yeah.
and have you factored the labor in, and what does that look like? And
Yeah.
so that's awesome. You guys have a calculator that you've built that spits all that out. That's amazing.
We have all of it. We just, when we write, with our coaching clients, I mean, look, we've really identified, and honest to God, whether somebody's in a startup, and I mean they already have a location, not, I did the startup thing, I don't do that anymore, or they're in business 30 some years, big KOLs. Where people struggle and the things that we do the most, we look at pricing strategies, revenue per hour, gross profit calculators, build budgets, build forecast, comp plans. It's it. 6 things we do all the time that practices don't have. And then all the trackers, front desk trackers, conversion trackers. When people start to understand those things, even on a provider level, when they are accountable to our trackers. I just was in Ohio State. I was in Ohio. 70 people were there. It was a surgeon who had functional medicine, his med spa, his surgical practice, his COO. I mean, they're doing sick money, right?
Yeah.
Multi millions, double digits. And they still, look, they've been with us for 12 months. He said, Terri, the first week you had us do the financial trackers, okay, that the providers fill out, by the way, okay, at the end of the day,
Oh, I
right?
like that.
I work 8 hours, or I'm scheduled for 8. I work 6. I sold 10 grand in service. I sold 2 grand in retail. Boom. It spits it out for you. Your capacity, your RPH. Okay. Then they're like, oh shit, I thought I was so busy, but yet my RPH is down and I only worked 50%. Now they're like, oh fuck, now I give a shit. He said, Terri, the first week you made us do the trackers, we doubled the revenue because we
Wow.
could make a change. So God, I mean, this is the shit that just pumps me up so passionately. But I'm like, this is crazy. And they're doing, again, double digits in the millions. And I'm still over there for like 2.5 days, buckled down
Holy
in like a damn professor. I need to put out the videos, by the way. But this is the power of the data and the pricing strategies and what to do and how to fix it.
And this is an RPH strategy, revenue per hour strategy that you guys have built. You guys
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
based off of all the practices you've talked to, providers. And so, am I right in saying that, okay, you get so big, this double digit, 8-figure practice, it sounds like they have, I mean, provider count's got to be high, right?
Oh, it's
Provider
huge.
counts. And so then it's like you need a tool to bring all the providers together and say, hey, like, what is our benchmark? What is our goals? And to get down to the individual level, you have to know their RPH, right? And
Yeah.
then they can comprehend it and say, oh, maybe I am busy, but I'm not, like, shoot, I'm way behind on the leaderboard. I got to step it up.
Percent. And now, and think about what I just said, an 8-figure business who's still Ivy League surgeon, right, still had me come out, still retained us to help them to get to the next level. And you're right. I think they had over 20 providers. And look, if people are like, oh God, we make it fun. It takes 5 minutes at the end of the day. Because now
Yeah,
if
that's
you're a
fun.
provider and you actually give a shit about how you're paid or right, what your outcomes you're giving your patients, you're like, oh my God, I had no idea. Right. And now it's competitive, right? It's friendly competition
Yep.
internally, but the business just thrives, right? I mean, exponential revenue.
Yeah, it makes it fun. It makes it like
Yeah.
goal oriented, right? And it
Yeah.
puts everybody on the same playing field. So
Yes.
it's like you
Yes.
came to me and you wanted a raise or you wanted a different comp plan. Well, like, let's look at your RPH.
Yeah. Let's look at it. Exactly. Let's look at
Like,
retail
wow,
sales. Let's look at all
yep,
this shit. Like, okay, I know.
you're doing good. You
Right.
do deserve a raise.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
shit, time for you to go, actually.
Yeah. 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 Listen, this is a crazy story. I won't say who. She's in the Midwest. We just added just because, well, she's been our client for a while, but, you know, the other thing is, people's P&L, chart of accounts, we call it. It's a hot mess. And look, there are people out there that are CPAs and, fractional CFOs and whatever. And that's fine. And those people are needed and necessary, but they're not consultants. So we gotta be very clear. But we just added another almost $500,000 in EBITDA
Hmm.
to somebody's bottom line just because we restructured her chart of accounts that she had shit all in the wrong place.
Wow.
Right. It was
Wow.
not this is the power of the data. And again, we're often just scared to look at it, or we have meetings once a month. I just read this thing. I thought it was so amazing. And I just literally told my team, if you have meetings weekly, I have 52 opportunities to make a change. If I
Hmm.
have monthly, I have 12. And then half the time it's not even done. So, inspect what you expect and just pay attention. And then you can make those agile, right, moves fast that have a huge impact.
I mean, that's gold. Inspect what you expect. I love it. I love it. Ooh, that's gold right there.
Right, isn't it? I know, I love it. I think I've been saying that shit since I was like a sales director in my corporate life. I'm like, like you said, I'd get fired if I wasn't hitting goals. So
Well, hey, I know you're busy and I know that you have like back-to-back meetings, conferences. I mean, shoot, I don't even know where to I bet I could find you in an airport more often.
you
So,
can, right? Just put a
what's your schedule
GPS
look
on me.
like?
I
Yeah,
know.
what's coming up for you? What's next? What's
No,
on
it's
the
nuts.
horizon?
So I just finished VCS. I'm going to go to the aesthetic show at the end of the month. Super happy though. I've signed a couple really amazing deals. Some people that have 600 clinics, a couple PE
Nice.
groups. It's really super exciting stuff. That's happening for me. But the travel's pretty aggressive. So I think this is the first month I'm actually home for a few weeks until the end of the month.
Nice.
Buckle down. Yeah, got some exciting stuff on the TRC front. Can't share now, but you'll be in the loop.
You always have something going on, something
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, I know
Well,
I'm going to
so
have
do
to see you
you.
soon.
So do
I
you.
mean, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot to share. Definitely offline with some
Yeah.
investments that we've done and some cool things that we've done over here. But you have so 4S really quick, and
Yeah.
I just for a sec, 'cause I know it's coming up. July's around the corner.
Yeah. Chicago.
Talk
Yeah.
what? Yeah, Chicago. What I mean, what does that look like? Not to make it a commercial, but
Yeah.
Terry,
No.
it's a badass
Thank
conference.
you. Thank you
Been
so much.
there. I can say that personally. So like, what does that look like? What can someone expect if they're tuning in right now and
Yeah.
maybe they're like, shit, I do need some of this advice. Maybe I should go to a conference. Like, talk to us about that.
Yeah, no, thank you, Cameron. And truly, you guys, like I said, don't take it from me. Go on my YouTube channel, my Instagram, go see what people have to say. Like I said, I own it with Isaac Muesli, was my partner in a business we had, big data driven guy, my work husband, excuse me, Renato Saltz, big key opinion leader, plastic surgeon in Park City, past president of every society. And listen, what you can expect is, and so if you're couple things that if this any of this resonated with you, and I hope it did, and you take a minute, certainly reach out personally. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your story. DM me, whatever. But the 4S, we created it to solve this gap that we talked about on this podcast. There is a million conferences with a very small amount of business, and so you get back with notes, and there's limited execution because you don't know how to do it. I say that like seriously with love. So the 4S is right. It's 2.5 days. We're very specific who we have, even as vendors, partners, which you were what, right? It's not pay to play. It's not pay to play for us. They are people there to support what we teach from a growth perspective. That's one. We keep it around 120, 130 so that it's boutique enough that we can give you the attention that you need. It is a community of people that is a family. This is our second year. We've had three. We're having three this year. We just finished one in LA in May, second week in July in Chicago, and then again in Fort Lauderdale in December. And it's super affordable to come. And again, 2.5 days of really two tracks, but a lot of speakers. So I teach very aggressively on the sales, culture, leadership, objections, questioning, like my jam. Isaac is we're really deep down. And this isn't tactical, you guys. Excuse me, this isn't theoretical. This is tactical. We're
Hmm.
asking you, come with your balance sheet, P&L, Excel, pricing, bring it. Like bring it. Like we are going to role play, get down and dirty to help you understand how to do these things. You leave with a huge binder of not just pages of piece of paper. It is like how to do it. So you can actually go back right away, day one, next day, pick the one or two things that you can move the needle. And then we have, again, people like you speak, M&A groups, owner to owner panel, marketing stuff, but at a very different level than what you see. like real shit, like real world. We have clients come up, talk about their successes and their case studies. It's just, look, I don't have to do this. My daughter Sloan, she'll be 12. Her birthday party's this week. I don't have to do this, but I genuinely want to give back in such a bigger way and really bring people together and help them recognize that it's possible and give them the tools and the training and the education, the framework to do it.
I mean, people would be doing themselves a disservice if they didn't go. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
I mean, it truly is. It's intimate. I've been as a vendor, I've been as a speaker, and I've met so many great people, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
And even as like a vendor or a speaker, I go, when I go, I try to put myself in a position to it's all service, it's all giving back, it's all helping, it's all because that stuff just comes back.
Yeah.
And that's the right thing to do. I met so many great people. So it's like, it's a
Yeah.
great networking environment, a great way to have an intimate conversation. Like I think some of the major big conferences, sometimes they get too big and it's like hard
Yeah.
it's almost like,
Yeah.
hey, I went to this big environment versus like, I actually like when I've left let's call it more boutique, intimate conferences, I leave with a lot more meat, a
Yeah.
lot more,
Yeah.
and so that was one of the big takeaways for me.
But
And
people
shoot, if,
share, and you were there. People are, they're really, look, I'm vulnerable with my own story, right? Which wasn't all roses if people think everything's perceived. My life wasn't that. And I've worked really hard to get here. I tell a lot on my 100th episode of my podcast, but people share, they share openly and vulnerably. And we're all facing very similar things. So people become friends. They're talking to each other. It's so great. It's just so great. Like it feeds my soul truly. um, and I appreciate your support so much, and really the opportunity to have you there to contribute. I have utmost admiration and respect for you and what you've done, and I would invite people to come in either July or December.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I'll leave it at that. I know you're super busy. I'm glad that you're finally have a little bit of time to
Thank
stay at home. And
you.
Sloan turns 12, and that's,
I
oh my
know,
gosh, teenage years are
crazy.
around the corner.
I
Oh my
know,
goodness.
nuts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, we got issues, right? We got, you and I
Huh.
both.
Yep. I got, yep, 100%. So, okay, guys, well, there you have it. Terri Ross here. Truly just so happy and such a
Thank
humbling
you.
experience to have her on the show, guys. So, you guys got to connect with her. Most of you may know her, some of you may not. You can go to terrirossconsulting.com to find her site. Or shoot, all you got to do is Google her. She's all over the internet, guys. Her Instagram's off the charts. She's got incredible
Thank you.
content on there. Obviously, have a podcast and a conference, and just has an incredible background. And I'm honestly honored to have her as a friend and as a guest on the podcast. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Cam, so much. And you guys truly, like I said, if this resonated, whether you work with us privately or for us, DM Cam's podcast, Medical Millionaire. So I know it was you, and love to extend, special savings for you guys too. So thank you guys for tuning in. And Cam, as always, dear friend, I appreciate you so much. And we will rock and roll, keep this going.
I love it. And guys, if you found this particular episode valuable, do me a favor and share it. Just share it with your colleagues, share it with your friends. There is gold in the content that we put in here that someone needs to hear. It could be a provider of yours. It could be a friend that's opening a practice. It could be a friend that's struggling. It could be, somebody within your network, right? Like
Yeah.
that's my biggest ask is share it because somebody can get value from the content and it will change their life. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. Happy
Bye,
injecting.
guys. Take care.